Hopkins Pond, that piece of the woods. You know that cove that's in there? Well,
Yeah.
right over in the middle of it, next to the hill there was a spring. And another spring, of course, nobody ever sees that again. It's over in the Sharp Pond. We used to call it the Gin Pond, way over next to the woods. That's
Sharp?
what keeps, huh?
Sharp Pond, did you call
Oh,
it?
that's what we used to call
Why?
that. Huh?
Why did you usually call it the Sharp Pond?
I don't know why it was right there beside the road. I always heard them call it the Sharp Pond. I don't know why.
That would be a spring on the backside of Gin Pond.
Yeah, a Gin Pond, that's it.
Right at the edge of the hill.
Right under the hill, way over on the backside.
Yeah.
What do you know about Lost Pond?
Huh?
What do you know about Lost Pond or Hidden Pond?
Well, that Lost Pond that shows you what nature's done and what will happen if you live a couple of thousand more years. The whole damn business, 100-acre pond, mud pond, all been on to the swamp. They're too shallow and they're filling right in. Deep pond and the Gin Pond are deep, real deep.
But you don't know much about that Lost Pond. That's pretty deep, isn't it?
Well, that's over in Gin Sets too.
Yeah.
Well, you see how that's filled in. At one time, I presume that was all one pond. Must have been in between there was filled in.
Yeah, you don't remember it ever being all that channel in between.
No. I was over there once. My brother-in-law and I went fishing for carp up there one night in the summertime. You would laugh.
Were you able to get the boat through there?
No, we didn't. No, that was all just bushes and everything else. Then we went out there fishing for carp. We fished all half the night. I didn't know more about fishing for carp. We went up in the Gin's barn and laid down the hay mound and went to sleep. Got up, went the next morning, Sunday morning, I think it was, back again to fish for carp. Well, we got over in this pond is a little hidden back there, you know. It ain't very big anyway. We went over there.
How'd you get in there, with a boat?
No, I walked in there. Walked through the bushes there and over there. It's the way, you can't see it even. You know, especially, I don't know whether it's there anymore. I must be.
It's still there.
And, well, God, we was fishing in there. I don't think the pond is hazardous to this house here. God, something made it jump out of the water and stuck his tail up. God, I says to my brother-in-law, that's a big bass. I thought it was a bass. I said, I wonder if a man could catch a frog around there. And I started poking around, but didn't fell in, got damn it, and got soaked, so I went home. It might have been a carp. Damn, them places over there, you got to be careful the way you walk in. You go right into your ears.
Yeah, I presume you would.
Had you had any knowledge about people reporting rattlesnakes or anything like that, seeing them?
I never seen a rattlesnake. I don't think that you find the rattlesnakes up around the lakes. Now that is Honeoye Lake.
Yeah.
Up in the hills that Radman.
Oh, so, you know, some of those hills over there in the park, they look almost artificial. Does anybody have any idea that some of those are Indian mounds or burial mounds or things like that?
I know nature, the ice periods formed all them.
Yeah. I just wondered if anybody had some idea that they were Indian mounds.
I don't know. I read in the paper about them. Someone stopped them. They was doing something over there. They thought there was something about the bridle or the old Indian trail.
Yeah, they were widening the trail, and some people protested, you know. Well,
that old Indian trail, you know, came right through our woods on the next pond. Came all the way from Clover Street around the hill there, and through. Then it crossed that open lot. Then there was an open lot into the Van Maren. It comes out, and they came right through the top of the ridge there where the dark pond is. We used to go.
How did just by way of curiosity, who told you it was an Indian trail? How did you know it was an Indian trail?
Well, there's always said that was an Indian trail. I don't know. History.
I see. It was common knowledge, but nobody really ever knew, did they?
Well, of course, that was natural. They came from they said.
Well, did anybody...
Well, you know, what he called on this trip park's there in the park.
Denonville.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, does anybody really know where he camped?
He said, as I remember reading about it, he saw 3 ponds.
Yeah, you're right. He did say that, but nobody
Now
knows.
he must have been up on a hill somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was possible that the 3 ponds he stood, he must have camped right there where the
dark pond is.
the devil's bathtub they call it.
Did anybody ever find anything up there? They got old swords or guns or anything like that when they farmed it?
I never heard of any.
You ever never heard of anybody plowing up any pieces of old metal or?
Anywhere in the park, even
how about
Compass Road.
Musket balls or rifle balls, anything like that?
No, I never heard of it.
Did anybody ever find anything walking down that Indian trail? Any arrowheads? Or
I never heard of anything.
Well then, I mean, as far as anybody poking around the pond when they dug gravel pits or they farmed it, but no bones or anything like that.
No, I never
Dug
heard.
Indian skeletons or any kind of.
Only, of course, this had nothing to do with Indians. I don't know. On our farm down there on the west, way over next to the woods, pretty close, there was a spot. It was all this kind of black, different color than this regular spot. It must have been a squatter. They always thought a squatter lived there, and over on this side of the road, too, on the east side of the road, was another spot.
Just exactly where are they? Would you be able to show us on a map?
Well, the farm there, at our farm, it was, you see, when you come, you don't know where our farm is, do you?
Well, it was a pretty long farm, so this wouldn't help me very much. The one on Clover Street, you say
You
it was
know
near the
where,
woods.
everything's been changed. You know where going down Clover Street when you come to that last group of evergreen trees?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was our line on the east side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
It ran down, well, out in the lot next to that line where it was, a little ways out from, there's a kind of a dip, and then it rises a little.
Were they building that new house?
Huh?
You know,
Well, way this side of that.
Yeah, between the new house and the road.
Yeah, but up pretty close to the line fence, there was a spot they always thought was a squatter, probably years and years ago.
How big a dark spot?
Oh, not any much bigger than a garage would be. That is, on the ground or something like that.
And how far would you say that spot was from those evergreen trees that you remarked about, the line?
Oh, they're just a little ways out on the south of it.
Mm-hmm. And about how far from Clover Street did you say it was?
Well, of course, from Clover Street, the lot up there was in.
What did you say, 200 feet, 500, 800?
I wouldn't say it was not over 300 feet out there.
Not over 300.
It wasn't out too far from the road. Of course, there wasn't any road there. That might have been an Indian track or something through there. I don't know. You can never tell.
Where was
That
this
was
other,
before there was any road.
Where was this other dark spot? You said across the road from there.
The what?
You said there was another dark spot too someplace.
Oh, that was way over in the southwest corner of the farm. Way back there. Oh, God.
What side of Clover Street would it have been? The west
side, way over.
Okay. Would it be before you get through? See, would it be in the area of Kimball's?
No.
Further south?
West.
West of Kimball's.
On the other side of Clover.
Oh, it ain't in there. It would be, you go by my sister-in-law's house there on the right-hand side coming towards Honeoye. And you'll see it. After you go by the house, you'll see 2 big black walnut trees along the road there. Well, right there's the line fence. Goes right straight back.
Runs west.
Run west. Well, there's all way back in the back corner, putting your our west line too. Out in a lot, a little ways from the corner over there was this spot.
What side of that line would it be on, the north or south side of that west line?
It'll be on the north side.
North.
Of course, you couldn't find anything down. There ain't been any. That land ain't been plowed up in years over there.
They thought this was a cabin too.
Well, they often said they thought it was a squatter's place, you know.
I mean, did they have Chinaware, stuff like that?
Yeah, they just, some squatter come around, lived a while, and away it went. Maybe the Indians got after him, chased him or something.
Have you ever heard of any Indian legends? They talk about the, that ridge where the Indian Trail runs along there. Have you heard any Indian legends, or people recall any kind of legends connected with those ridges in the park?
No one ever did.
Uh-huh.
They didn't. You see, now we used to find, once in a great while, not very often, way up in the corner, once in a while you'd find an arrowhead. Of course, they must have been, the Indians must have dropped them there or something, but simply because there was not that kind of material to make arrowheads up in that section of the country at all.
Yeah.
They must have come, of course, I suppose the Indians were around all over.
Yeah.
They probably followed along that place there where the pond was. And they might have went over towards the junction where the Indians had a camp, Then they had a camp up here too. And I guess there was another one over towards Lima one time. I went to a speaker one time up Corby's. He was telling us all about Indians.
What was his name?
God, I forgot it a good while ago.
Do you have any more questions?
They don't know.
But
I don't think they know too much about the Indians.
Well, we're all learning.
But I had heard a story about those ridges were giant snakes, and I can't recall where I read it. And the Indians had a legend about the snakes died. Well, they came down to swallow the earth, and then they were killed, and the snakes died, and they threw up all the dirt, and it was left in the form of those ridges. And I was wondering if you heard anything like this, or any kind of any legends about wandering Indians or lost Indians in the park, or ghost canoes out on the water, any kind of stories like that connected with the park.
No. Of course, there was another Indian reservation down at Mountain Hill.
Yeah, knew that about that.
Now, can you tell me where that was? You fellas know?
I know where it is. I could show you on a map, but I couldn't.
Well, now, which side of the... Well, we say going south or east. Which side of the road is it?
Well,
Go
ahead. You mean you're going east on Mountain Hill Road out of Honeoye Falls?
No, you're going towards Victor. I'm not towards... Yeah, you're going towards... up that way, towards...
Okay, I think it's supposed to be on the north side, I thought.
It was on both sides of the road. Dan Barber, a man who works at the museum, told me that as you go down Mountain Hill Road going east, and you come to the road the Holcomb Road that goes up over Mountain Hill running out of Victor, that the major part of the town was on the southwest corner, but there was also part of the village on the north west corner, and ran west back towards Honeoye Falls to that big hill, which was called Ford Hill. But this Ford Hill wasn't used as a dwelling place for the Indians. The major village was on the west side of the Holcomb Road that runs north and south out of Victor.
On the west side?
Yes, on the west side, but on both sides. The village is on both sides of the Mountain Hill Road, as you would go from Honeoye Falls.
On the west side of the Mountain Hill Road?
No, on the north and south side of the Mountain Hill Road.
But I know, but down. That is...
Of course, it's all built up to homes now. It's a residential area.
Well, I know, but doing that, if that was the case, they were trying to make a, what do you call it, fishers trying to get this thing through.
Yeah.
Well, there's a cemetery on the one side of the...
There's a cemetery on the southwest corner, but I think that cemetery is fairly recent. It's historical time.
Oh, that's before the Indians.
You mean after the Indians?
The Indians, then that must have been on the northwest corner.
On the northwest corner, yeah. Part of the village stood there on the northwest corner. There's a big farm in there now, and there's some homes.
All
down
apple trees and all that.
Right.
That's the fellow that makes cider
Right. You hear me now, sir?
Yeah. Did anybody ever, poking around the swamps and everything, found what they thought was an old Indian canoe or any kind of old boats or anything people found or paddles?
I don't remember anything like that. You mean over the park?
Yeah, around the park there.
No, I never. Only one thing was all it. That pond there that I live side of, they called the Quaker Pond. Well, that is what they originally called it. But it's always been called a mud pond, so it was a mud hole. You could take a fishbowl of 15 feet long and go on our side of the pond, push the damn thing right straight down out of sight. I've heard my father tell them they got a tamarack tree over in the swamp one time in the wintertime. They pulled it out on the ice. Must have been 25 or 30 feet long. Ended it up, let it in, and in 3 years it was out of sight.
I believe it.
And, well, down next to the marsh, you dig a post hole. The top of the soil will be all right, then you strike marl, and then you strike quicksand underneath the marl.
I was on
Down,
mud pond there,
yeah,
along the marsh.
on the marsh. All that, of course, they put a post in first thing to heave out of the ground, freezing and thawing, or settle down when they threw the damn quicksand. We had springs along there. We had a big spring down home, that kind of got blocked up. Here's something I can tell you as a fact. I was in the milk business. We went. And we had a well right side of Clover Street there. Right across the street from my sister-in-law there. With the barn in it. And we never had to have any ice to keep the milk from, right, in the summertime.
You use that spring?
It was a spring. You could take and pump 2 barrels of water out and the damn well would be dry, and in 15 minutes we'd be full again. And that water was just as cold. Fellas used to come along, God, and stop there to get a drink. So they went out of their way, come around that way to get a drink. Now the damn wells are all spoiled, caved in.
Yeah.
There was an old dug well, Of course, they got water going by now.
Yeah.
But it ain't down. And then up to the other house, of course, that was deeper. That was another one. And down the foot of the lane, there was small spring, but we had quite a big one. Had a long box, as long as that sofa. And why cattle used to drink up from Castle Line, up the foot of the lane. Even go down there and get water and thrash the engine. But that petered out too, to some extent, I suppose.
What about unusual animals and people, any kind of stories about funny looking animals people seen out in the park, or great big fish, one of those big fish you could never catch in one of the ponds there? You ever hear any stories like that?
Well, no, I never. I used to enjoy, of course, maybe this is interesting to you fellas. When I lived there, we had a shepherd dog, and him and I used to go out in the spring of the year, later like this, a little later probably. We sit there out there on a nice warm night, and hear nature's music. God, one of them big bullfrogs that start one maybe down one end of the pond and another and somewhere. They'd all start tuning up, and they'd all get together.
You kind of enjoy that?
God, you would sit out there and you'd hear snipe and all kinds of life down there the evening after dark. Going in. Mud hens, I used to call them shite pokes. They you'll hear them. Damn, some kind of a swamp bird.
Yeah, the heron, green heron, we call them. The shite poke's a good name.
Shite pokes, yeah.
Good name.
I call them steak pounders, and it sounds like a
Oh, you're
Yeah,
bitter.
Bitters. Oh,
Yeah.
you're bitters. Yeah, you can hear
Yeah.
them too. Yeah. Let me, you know, talking about this sort of thing. I suppose we're here to get a little gossip, just a little color in our local history. And you don't, of course, have to. You don't have to volunteer anything that you don't want to. But has there ever been any gossip connected with the park or with especially with some of the early characters? Years ago, folks used to drink powerful lot of cider, and I understand this old boy who built that cobblestone house down there, Stewart, consumed quite a little bit of whiskey when he built the house. Now that house is 130 some years old, and I don't know too much about these gin boys, but I heard they were. Well, somebody's kind of hinted to me that they were a couple of rascals too. Do you know of any colorful stories that kind of like gossip about some of the early settlers down there, or their way of life and this sort of thing?
Well, I'll tell you, what's my family? Not me. I'm guilty as hell of drinking hard cider. I never carried anything but whiskey. I like a glass of beer or ale.
Oh.
Hard cider. Always had a barrel of cider. And everybody down the center, if I must say so, I don't suppose I ought to tell you. That place down in Mendon Center, and all those young fellows, farmer boys, and all the farmers had sons living on the farm, or the hired men. We'd go down, all the way down through the winter, dance, we'd go to dances, play cards and drink cider. Everybody had a barrel or two of cider in the center. And I'd go down there every night, put in there, if you get down there. Of course, I was a mile, go across, it was about a mile, and to walk was about a mile and a half.
Well, you say you went down to Mendon Center or Mendon?
Mendon Center.
Well, what house, where was this place? Or did you just go to one another's houses? There wasn't a cabin.
Well, there's a store there. Blacksmith. There's a store, there was a blacksmith shop and a woodworking factory.
Do you know these sites, George?
I know the store used to sit right on that little corner there, and I think it's still standing.
Yeah, there's a little store there.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now it's an apartment house.
Yeah.
Well, that was the store. And right
that?
across the road, of course, the old blacksmith shop's gone. There was two of them.
Where was that? Where were they?
Right across the road from the store was on
the kitty corner, you mean?
On the Mendon Road, on the south side.
It wouldn't be on Bushman, where Bushman are now.
No, across the road from Bushman. Well, you come down here, you see.
Here's the little store, I guess, right up in here.
Yeah. Well, you take here's the store. Here's the road coming down from Rush to Mendon like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's the store on the left-hand side. You're going towards Mendon, and right across on the right-hand side is where there's a house. Stephens lives there. There's a home there now.
Yeah.
Well, there's where the blacksmith shop used to stand.
So that would be near the Bushman, wouldn't it?
No, it would be on the other side of the road from the Bushman.
Okay, next mark it down.
Yeah.
Well, what about this old mill that used to be down there that was in town of Mendon Center?
Oh yeah.
Was that now operating when you were around here?
Well, I guess it was, sure.
When did
Who was the first operator of that mill?
Well, I don't know. I heard them tell their name, but I heard the old folks. Well, I can't think of the names anymore. But that mill was there for a good while maybe it was there before I was born. For all I know.
Well, who was the last? Do you remember any of the operators at all?
Yes, I remember the last one. Let me see if I can think of their names. There's two of them. They're both gone now. The old man's gone, but he's got two sons. One lives over on a farm.
I think it was in the history.
Trender.
Trender, that's right. I've heard that name.
The old man Trender. Hell, I've been there time and again with grits to get drowned.
Grits?
Grits, they use to grind grits.
Oh, I thought you said grits, not grit. I thought you meant corn grits.
Well, no, he ground up food, grain for
Right.
stock. Farmers. Well, he made flour too, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I understand that pond, when it washed out, the mill pond, apparently somebody has filled it all in. You don't know who would do that. Looks to me like they've dumped garbage in there, old trash, bottles.
I ain't never been down there since.
You haven't?
What happened to the mill structure itself? Did it burn down or?
No, they tore it down.
Tore it down.
Who tore it down?
I tried to buy it. We was going to build a barn, and I tried to buy it.
Who tore it down?
Bushman, I think, owned it.
Bushman did.
He bought all that.
When did he tear it down? Roughly.
Oh God, it's quite a few years ago. Let's see. I imagine they hadn't been doing anything with it. I don't think. Back in 1913, 14, 15, somewhere in there. I'm correct about it.
Mm-hmm.
The old man quit, the boys got away. The old man died, I guess, I must say. But Bushman bought all those couple of houses up there.
Yeah.
Trencher lived up and the farthest one up.
Mm-hmm.
But the bill, that was a dirt dam anyway, you know. And of course, after a while, I got a hole through it.
Did it wash out very frequently, the dam?
Walked right, made a hole through it and run right down to where the creek generally run, you know. And only over here is where you had the stop gate to run down to the mill.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to raise it up and let the water down around the mill.
Yeah.
And shut it off. Then here was the dam around here like this.
Did he ever saw any lumber with that mill? It was ground mostly grain.
He sold grain, yeah.
But did he ever saw any lumber with the mill?
No, not lumber, no.
Say, one other thing that occurred to me. I understand this Garland house, which is on the where it was standing on the southwest corner of Williams Road and Clover Street. Somebody told me the Garland sisters ran a tea house.
A what?
A tea house. Did you ever hear that?
Garland sisters?
Yeah. Well, was that a cobblestone house? The Garland house, the one they lived in? Well, the reason how's that?
Wood house.
Well, the reason I asked, because there used to be a little smokehouse there that was made out of cobblestone.
Well, a lot of those, most all smokehouses were made out of stone or brick. They'd be set on fire, you know. They didn't too often build a fire to smoke hands, you know. They didn't look out, they'd have the damn place on fire.
But that wasn't a cobblestone house, huh? The reason I ask about this, somebody told me that they had a hired hand.
A who?
A hired hand. The Garland sisters had a man who worked for them. Now, I don't know whether he farmed or not, but somebody told me that during the course of farming that land, he plowed up a lot of iron, pieces of iron. He thought there were some musket barrels and things of this nature. You haven't ever heard anything about that?
In the first place, whoever told you this, Garlands had 2 daughters, but one of them never knew it.
Never what?
Her mind was gone entirely.
Oh, it was? Really?
Yes. He had 2 daughters and 2 boys. One boy he couldn't, Ed, he was a darn nice fellow, nice disposition and everything, but he didn't know A from B.
Is that right?
Went to come to school, and the poor cuss, but he couldn't do anything, books or anything.
Do you remember anything?
He couldn't even count money. He couldn't tell the time of day.
Do you remember anything about that swamp up the road, up Williams Road there? The one that's all in cedar trees now?
Well, on left hand, on the south side of the road?
That up in the south side of the road. You know anything about that?
Well, that's old, what do you call it, farm?
Captain? Wasn't?
No, it's, I just went over to his granddaughters to play cards the other night. I went to school with a boy and girl.
Voris?
Huh?
Van Voris farms a lot of it.
This side of it.
Yeah.
Oh, Seams. Gus Seams owned the park. And that swamp on the south side of the road, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, that swamp runs right straight on, clear down into Kearns on the next road.
Yeah.
And all the way around to the west there. He had a nice little farm in there. That was, we went mixed up with the house, Ads' house, the stone house beyond the corners.
No. No, the one I've heard of it was on that's the Reber, Max Reber lives in that other house, the Adsit house.
Yeah.
One you're talking about. Listen, it's about, can we just interrupt? Would you like to repeat that again, please?
Well, they claimed that they used to help the slaves, protect them, guard them if there's anybody after them. Till they could get them going, to get them to Canada.
Was this the Garland family or the...
Well, that's the Garland house. No, the Garland family never lived there at that time.
Yeah.
This is
There's
before
several,
this time.
yeah, that's way along early on that.
What about the Stamen property too, where the kennels is?
Huh?
You know where the Stamen used to live there, where the dog kennels is? Over in the barn there, there's a couple of holes. They look like cisterns to me, but I'd heard stories they were cellars, to help the slaves.
It might have been. There's a lot of things, they don't tell us, I suppose. My great uncle in Illinois had one too. We were in the house out there. But you never heard of it. They always claimed that he did help get up through.
Getting back to that mill site, was there any old roads that led from the mill site, say straight north up towards Quick's property? A lane or something?
Oh, you mean from the old mill?
Yeah.
No, you had to come out to the main road. Go north.
So Quick would have had to go down to Pond Road and take Pond Road over to the Mendon Center Road to get to the mill.
Well, that was the road.
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem kind of strange?
There was no shortcut across
I was going to say, he owned a lot of that property. You think he'd build a shortcut, a road down there to the mill?
Who?
Quick. Wouldn't you think?
Well, Quick had to cross on the people's property,
Oh, I see.
Well,
now you see, Lynn Quick, he could come down, but he'd had to went through my nephew's lot to
Carl's.
He got to Bushman.
Yeah.
Then in order to get to the mill, he'd had to get through Bushman too.
Right.
Well,
Then he'd had to cross the creek too to get to them.
The mill's on the other side of the creek.
Yeah, I had, talking to Mr. Matthews there, he had said that there used to be a house sitting out in the lot south of the house they live in now, right on that flat area, the field there. And years ago, I picked up Chinaware and stuff out in that field, so there must have been a house there around 1830 or 40.
Right.
And he said that one of the farm roads he has that leads straight south of the house, down towards your nephew's property, it seemed to him that that was an old road. His grandfather or Mrs. Matthews' grandfather, somebody like that, said there was an old road. And leading down to this house, and if you extend it, it would head down towards the mill site. And I was wondering maybe this was an old shortcut or something down to the mill.
Well, I don't know when that mill was
First started.
It was way along back, pretty early in the century, I think. That's the turn of the century. Oh, hell, it was there long before the turn of the century, because I knew about that myself. God damn it. It's been there a good while early.
Are there any traditions out there where places like huckleberry swamps or blueberry swamps where the people used to say the Indians used to come to pick blueberries, or the settlers used to go to pick blueberries or huckleberries or cranberries? Or, you know where these areas are?
Huh?
Do you know where any of these places are where they
pick these berries?
Yeah, well, maybe the people used to say, well, this used to be the Indian blueberry swamp.
Oh, hell, I used to know. Of course, there's some of them grown up now and spoiled. Well, up there when I worked at the park, I knew several. I had a particular place. And of course, I drove the tractor. I was all over.
There's a bog right behind Reitman's house now.
Who?
Reitman, the guy that does all the dumping there, the junk.
Oh yeah.
There's a bog down in there. People call it Kennedy's Bog, and I've heard it called Kinter's Bog.
I don't know.
Did you ever hear of a Kinter family?
Who?
Kinter, K-I-N-T-E-R. Used to be a Jane Kinter, that lived on Clover Street.
I don't
It would be
remember.
opposite. That would be just about opposite the Hopkins Point road entrance, and there was a cranberry bog down in there. Did you know about that one?
I can tell you about this cranberry business. My great grandfather, when they come up here, they said, this is what they told me. That's down the mud pond. That was the first pond that ever had any cranberry.
Now, what part of it was it? The swamp north of the pond?
No. My grandfather, they said, went just for the experiment, got some cranberries and scattered them around down there. But it turned out, I suppose maybe that mill or so came about, the water would flood just about right, and the bush rats and everything else were getting out in the pond and blowing around. They got all, there was 3 paces as it was. Now, on our side, we ran way down to our south line to the pond, and we picked as high as 25 or 30 bushel one fall, cranberries there. It was all the way down, maybe 2 rods or so from the edge of the pond out.
Well, I met somebody about 8-9 years ago down there by the outlet.
Yeah.
Of Mud Pond. It would be just north of the outlet. And they were near
south of the east of the outlet.
Well, this would have been west and north of the, I should say not east or west, but it would have been north of the little stream up towards Matthews. And they were in there picking cranberries. I said they were.
Yeah, I picked them down.
So I presume...
That's the last one. You see, but after the mill dam went out, that ruined them.
These were weren't the ones on the bushes, were they?
No, there was, what, you ever seen cranberry vine?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a little bit of a vine.
Right, yeah. Well, there's a bush down there they call high bush cranberry, and they sometimes use it.
You wouldn't eat those. They're pretty bitter.
Yeah.
They ain't no.
Yeah.
And of course down the south end, they got down there. That was a good place to pick them too. There was a lot of them. And way up in the northeast corner of Matthews there was some more in there.
Northeast corner.
But after that, then of course a late frost would knock them too. But after a while, now as it comes down from the other ponds, it comes down out in our marsh, then it turned at right angles and ran out to the mud pond. But now my sister-in-law, they found that up in there, of course there was a flood just a little bit, right? There was still some cranberries up there. There was some cranberries too up between the 200-acre pond and the deep pond on the outlet there, from the 100-acre into in one place there. Near it, I think it was the closest to the deep pond there was on one side of that ditch.
Hey, this is a little bit related to what we're talking about. Apparently, somebody in the past has tried to regulate the level of the ponds, and they've put in these little concrete sluiceways with slots in it for putting planks in. Was that done when you were working with the park?
Where was this? Where was it?
On all of them. There's one on, especially at the outlet of Mud Pond. There's a little concrete box, a sluiceway, that you can put boards in to get
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember when that was done?
Well, I don't remember when the park got it, you know, they had to put a bridge in down there had this riding track around the cross down there.
Yeah.
Come down on that side of the pond, on the east side, come around across up on our side, and then around and then cross back again.
Mm-hmm.
Up where there was another bridge where the beavers dammed that up.
Yeah. You don't remember those concrete sluiceways being in when you were there.
Well, down there they was a stoppage. They built a dam up there years ago at the upper pond to hold the water back up there.
At beneath Pond Road?
Yeah, there was a dam up there where God was old trender on the mill down there.
You mean there was one of those concrete sluices in there?
Well, what kind of it was a dam that you could raise it up to hold the water back, or let the water out or in. You know,
in other words, you could put boards in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like the same. Gee, George, maybe better finish up the question of getting their lunch.
Okay, was there, like a maple bush or anything like that, a sugar bush?
Well, there was a sugar bush over west of us on Harris Farm. And woods in there was some hard maple. They used to make maple sugar for a spell, and then they petered out on it.
Okay, about this old house that used to sit opposite of Clarence Matthews, the one next to the kennel there, the one I live in. You know when that was moved?
Moved?
Yeah, wasn't it? Somebody told me it was moved from where Clarence Matthews, opposite Clarence Matthews' house down next to the kennel.
Old Tom Porter owned that place.
Uh-huh.
It was right across the road, not exactly across the road, a little to the northeast.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the road where the park bought it.
Uh-huh.
Well, they bought that. Well, now I was in the park in 1931, I think. We started with. I'll tell you something about that. The goddamn wonder we didn't all get buried. There was a big what's this? We used to make shingles out of.
Oak?
Shingles for roof.
Cedar.
There was a big cedar tree stood in Old Tom Yard. Well, they moved that house down the road from there. Stephen bought it for a tenant house, and they moved it down the road with a winch.
Mm-hmm.
A dirt road there then. Well, I'm going to tell you something. We dug this goddamn tree out, They dug way around it. Quite a good big tree. Stuck up there and away. Got away. I was with the gang. We went over there with a crane and picked that damn thing up and set it in a big truck and started to take it over. It was put over there. We dug a big hole over there where the stone house is in the park, way down. Back in there, we dug a big hole to put it in. Well, they put it on the truck. We started with it, and when we got down to the corner there, the top of it hit the live wire bridges, and everybody got a shot.
What did you do with the tree?
We didn't hurt the tree. The top of the damn tree did mushroom.
Yeah, but what did you do then? Did you move it?
We took the damn tree over there.
This was down by the cobblestone house?
Yeah, that's where we buried it. That's where we put this tree in. We had a big hole dug there. They was going to try to save it from up there, see?
Did it live? I don't recall seeing it.
It would have lived if they took care of it the way they should, I think.
It died.
Well, we got it over there and got it planted. But the hell of it is, you take one of those trees, even a small one ain't that big. You got to keep them watered for a whole god darn year. And this big cussed thing, They should have kept it watered, you know. Every day they should have watered it.
Yeah.
They got it. Because it was a pretty good sized tree. Of course, we took it off a big hunk of dirt with it. But the damn wonder we didn't all get electrocuted on that truck.
Have you heard any stories about the house itself?
Huh?
Any strange going on in that house or anything like that? Did it have any?
My nephew lived in that house.
Did he have any stories about the house?
Not that I don't know. Of course, there's an old-fashioned oven and everything in it.
Seems to
George means, is there any ghost stories?
Huh?
Were there any ghost stories about the house?
Oh, God, I don't know. I never heard of one. Guys, the ghost stories, everybody has a ghost story, you know.
Well, did anybody ever
had too much cider, maybe they was just seeing ghosts.
Did anybody, you know, somebody told me some strange goings on in that house at one time, and
well,
somebody had killed himself or committed suicide there.
Well, I couldn't tell you about that, you know,
Yeah.
fella, because I wasn't. You see,
This was before it was moved.
Yeah.
Was there ever any illegal whiskey being produced around here?
Well,
this is way, you know, back years ago. I'm not talking about cider so much, but was there ever any of the folks making any whiskey any place?
I never knew of anybody. I've heard.
Well, you say they used to put in
Years ago, they used to have stills around and we make whiskey. That is when the settlers first came in.
Yeah, you said they used to grow corn around here, and
yeah.
quite a little, you know, occasionally they put in corn. I wondered if any of the folks.
I don't know. I never heard about them. I never knew. I never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my family, they were Quakers. They didn't believe in booze anyway. There wasn't much of a booze gang around Mendon Center. That was a Quaker settlement.
Mm-hmm. Where was the notorious hangout during those days?
Well, we did a store stoop.
There was.
Every night, you know, you go down that store, you couldn't find a place to sit down. 2 sets on it, the top one and the next one. And it was always full. Good summer hot weather. All the hired men come walking in. Everybody had a hired man, probably a son or two. Hell, the place was always full. Everybody had to go down there every night of the week. I don't know.
How many people, you suppose, were there of an evening?
Oh, God, most of the time it wasn't storming. You couldn't. Some nights more than others. Hell, it'd be 15, 20.
15 or 20. Huh?
Even the farmers themselves would come park themselves.
Where did you dance down there?
What? Well, at one time we danced up over the store. Small room up there. Well, it was pretty size. Then they built one down there. The town's got to keep the tools in now.
Yeah.
That used to be. I helped build it.
That used to be a dance hall?
Huh?
That used to be a dance hall?
Well, that's what they built it for, a dance place. We went in, each buddy took a chair in it. Well, we sold out after. But that went kaput after a while. Well, we danced. I used to call off the dancers.
Oh, did you really?
Yes, I used to call off a lot. Used to call off down the grade in Mendon. Different places. Yes. We used to have a lot of fun. Dancing and playing cards. Well, you used to have, there was nothing, you know, they get up and dance in a 10 hour, go get the girls to bake a cake. We'd have lots of them in private houses.
Excuse me, you were going to say something about that old Stamen house. I think before Don asked you the question about the Mendon Center there.
Yeah.
You know, I asked you, you said something about ghosts or things funny, and talked to you about somebody told me somebody committed suicide in that house. His wife was running around with a farmhand, and you were going to say something.
The only man that I ever knew that committed suicide in our section over there was Bert Harris. He lived right where my nephew does now. He did.
Carl. or
Charlie.
It
He was a cracker jack with carpenter, inside senator, too, on it. I
was
don't
he
know.
related to the Harris who lived up in the park there?
Well, his father and mother lived up there, where the Jims lived.
Yeah.
Bert Harris is his name was. I know him well. Went to school with him and his sister. In the district school up there. I don't know what he went off his handle. He was working in the city, used to. Oh, he was a cracker jack of a carpenter. Yeah, inside finisher. You couldn't beat it. He was a dandy.
One other thing, those gravel pits in the park, were they started by the park, or were they some the farmers had started it on their own?
In the park?
Yeah, within the park. There seems to be a lot of them around. The little Lookout Point, there's a few places, the big hill there. It looks like somebody's taking gravel out of there. Or was this to build up the roads for the trails?
There was one, the one on the, where you go back in the bend of the road there.
Yeah, by the cavalry house, that area?
Yeah. Well, that, we got, the park did that, went back there again.
They operated that, huh?
Yeah, because I helped them, we had to draw gravel out of there and fixing up things and all. Sand.
There's a couple of places on that little trail that goes around Quaker Pond where somebody has obviously gone in and dug out some gravel. Was that to improve that trail, that little roadway, or? Or would you know about that?
Which side of the pond?
Both sides. There's one little place right down where Lookout Hill, Lookout Hill is. There's a little fork road. It's a dirt road, and there's a fork in the road. And if you keep going south on that little trail of road, you'd end up right down.
By the pond.
Yeah, down by the pond. And if you go right, you go up where that.
On that hill.
Yeah, and there's a little place there that's dug out. And then there's one just about opposite there on the other side of the pond. Up towards the north end of that trailer road.
Oh, you mean off Clover Street?
Yeah.
At Sand Pit?
No, that's down on. No, this is down on the little road that goes the trailer.
Oh, the old trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Horseback.
Yeah. You don't remember anything?
I don't remember. I'm digging anything around that.
It was Douglas Road a dirt road before the park was created?
Yeah. They were all dirt roads.
Yeah. Did they dig in? Yeah. Did they dig into the land there on the west side to fill in there to put that paved road in, or?
Well, they widened the road over there. Hopkins and what's the devil the name of Pittsford built that road? Hopkins and Charlie. What's some of the names over there in Pittsford? There's several of them, huh?
There's, on the Pittsford side of the park, or?
What's some of the names they built? They put that road in.
Zorno?
No, not Zorno. Charlie. Shane,
yeah.
Okay.
They put that road in. The Park Road.
Now, which one is this, Pond or Douglas? Which road is this?
The whole damn shooting match.
Oh, Douglas Road, Canfield, and Pond Road, they put those all in?
Well, I think so. They had an awful time on the Canfield Road.
What do you mean?
There's a sinkhole in that as you come down from the Clover Street down to foot the hill there.
Before you get to Recoliers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys, they get it all filled up. Next morning, they didn't wait out again.
It's pretty wet in there right now.
And at one time, they stuffed it and everything else, everything they could find, logs and gravel. Finally, going down, it pulled at some of the trees that was way off on the side, on the south side. Tipped them right.
Well, how did they get across there years ago? They just forded it with a horse
Well,
ride?
that was a dirt road.
It was underwater and they just forded it, huh?
Didn't bother. But they, of course, on the other side was a little swamp and then was high ground. But that is a kind of a soft place.
What about that spot right there next to Gin Pond? Was that kind of the same way? Kind of soft in there? Or?
Yeah, well, that was all. You know, in my way of thinking, used to find snails and little snail things, lots of times around the edge of the marshes where you're plowing sometimes. In the centuries past, that whole shooting match was just of water. All them ponds was connected together, in my opinion. Every one of them. All that low ground and everything. But they were shallow, just like the 100-acre pond, and the mud pond is a shallow pond. I bet you in 2,500 years, they'll be nothing but a bunch of swamps. They'll be just like that. They keep growing in, algae, and they'll be gone.
Mm-hmm. Probably right.
Because they're growing in now. I can see that. For the time I lived down there.
Do you get down the park very much?
No, not so much. No. But it shows that I think that there was water sometime, because it just I suppose that would do the glaciers too. But it's always been a puzzle to me that there must be a subterranean outlet or something under that hill for that devil's bathtub. Now that's always so. I never fished there, but I heard my dad tell one time about going up there fishing. Fight mosquitoes, but just catch pouts, bullhead pouts about that long.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be any bigger either.
Nothing else though, huh?
Huh?
Nothing else.
No.
Do you remember, George, to get back to George's question there, you know where Jim Pond is and the road that goes through there, when that was a dirt road, was that underwater very much? Was it marshy or? Well,
they had a little bridge in there one time, if I remember right.
Oh, they did?
Low.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to get, of course, the outlet came down in the deep pond.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about it? Did you see the place you've been by where they dug to raise fish?
Well, they dug what?
Raise fish in there.
That little pond used to have.
I
Used to be more than
road.
one. Wasn't there more than one pond? There was one right alongside the road. They just filled in. It seems to me there's another one further in.
Well, there might have been two there.
Yeah.
But the damn beavers got up there. Beavers come up there, and some young beavers went in the pipe and got stuck and couldn't get out and stopped up things. I don't know, some kind of.
When was this? How long ago was this?
Oh, it was quite a few years ago, when the beavers first got in here.
How did the beaver get in here years ago?
Well, they only wandered here. Hell,
now, how long ago was this? 20 or 30 years ago?
Huh?
20 or 30 years ago?
Oh, no. There wasn't any beavers around when we were going.
Well, how recent? 10, 15 years ago?
Oh, 15 years ago or so.
Down the fishing.
Well, all of that, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they started in up there, you see, well, I told you where that Van Marion, with the pond there. That was all a pasture lot.
Yeah.
Then. But when they put this bridge across down there, well, it must have happened. You see, in the 30s, early 30s, you see, the park took over, set up these riding trails, and they put a bridge across this outlet. And then when the beavers started up, they plugged it up, and the beavers come in this section.
Well,
you see, that'd be way back in the 30s, maybe 35 or more.
So the beaver were in here then, and then
they come in here.
Then they disappeared and then came back again, huh?
Yeah. Well, one day, right down here in the Honeoye Creek, someone looked over the bridge down in the creek down there. Here was a great big devil there.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 years ago. I remember somebody calling.
He was out looking for something.
He had a dam across the creek there.
Yeah. Well, they're still down there, I guess, ponds.
Yes, they are. They're just as big a nuisance as they were then, too.
I never been down there and see their old, the south end there, the outlet. I never see their house. Well, of course, I've never been down there.
Yeah, there's quite a... You can, if you get somebody to drive you, if you can get over to the visitor center someday, where we are,
Well, hell,
well, there's possibly, if it's the right day, if you could come on a Monday and call us, one of us would be glad to drive you around and show you one of those lodges.
well, you know, my nephew, his farm runs right down to that road.
Right, I know.
But I've seen, but he told me this, they had the water way up. They had it blocked, just like it used to be.
Yeah. What was his reaction to that? Did he like it or didn't he?
Well, I guess they opened it up and then let it run in, didn't they?
Did they? I guess that's what they.
But hell, one day only a few minutes, the damn beaver will have blocked all up.
Right. You're right.
They can't, you can't stop them cussers.
No.
They're pretty good engineers, them beaver.
They sure are.
I was up in Algonquin Park, in Canada. Well, that's 21 years ago. And we went up to what they call there was only 2 places you could stay overnight in this park anyway. And we stopped, it was right along the lake. It was along in the afternoon, early afternoon we got there, we made my mind we sat. And I was poking around, went in swimming too in the lake. There was a point that run out and just had these hotels on it, place to eat. And it's just from the road, there was the lake, the point run in, so here was the road, and you went in here and come around, the water comes up pretty close to the road too, from the pond. Well, I was poking around, and there was a fellow that took care of the thing, went, cleans up and everything, took garbage and everything up to the garbage camp and everything. He came in with something on these little Ford pickup trucks. I got talking with him. Well, he says, he told me, he said, I've been up slowly about a mile or so up the hill, back in the woods. He says, incinerator up there. Well, they burnt some great big thing up in the area, the hill was. And he says, I've been up there building a railing. They got a bear up there, he says. He's getting pretty rowdy. Sassy. And he told me the people that look out for the park, you know, build a railing so people couldn't get up anywhere near this incinerator. Of course, they had to wait place for them to drive in and out.
Mm-hmm.
The guy said, I said, bear? He said, yes. Hell, he said, sometimes there's 3, 4 bear up there when I go up with the garbage. God, I said, when do you go? He said, you go. He said, you watch for me tonight, he said, follow me up there. He said, you'll see bear all right. God, so all right, I said to the man. But in the meantime, I was poking around there and heard some fellows after that saying, we're going up, got these bones to go up there. I run down where my wife was, and I said, God, get the car, we're going to follow this gang up here. They're going up there. They got a bag of bones. Go up this place. See that, bear up. Got that. We got a picture of the damn bear. Well, up we go. We follow them up. And they take this bag of bones and they go out there. He had it. The incinerator stood back. Old father's mirror with that house a little bit. And they take the bag of bones, and slam them up on top of it. They were up on top of this thing. And they had a great big ring on the top. And they rattled that or something. Got out of there. Come back in the cars, we could look right in there. Mm-hmm. And we sat there. I said, hell, bears must be all asleep somewhere. pretty soon I see the bushes down the side hill bank. It must have been down the wood moving. I said to my wife, I said, here's one coming, I'll bet $1. I see the bushes moving down there. Out walked this damn big bear. Oh boy, big black bastard. His belly almost hit the ground. No wonder.
Feeding him good.
Well, he was getting mean. Well, he come up. And he reared up and he made a cuff of that, tipped the bag low and some of the bones fell out of the meat on the ground. Well, he looked them all over and got the rest of them down after a while. Picked up a bone and started away with it. We took pictures of him, meantime. He started out, and I said, that's the end of him. We want to see him again. But I did him right back in a little while. And out come another bear. Well, God, this one didn't look anything like him. And, you know, here was the incinerator and the damn bones around it. This bear, other one come out, tried to come up to get in the game too, to get us something to eat. And this big pup would shag him right away, see. And he tried again. No, so all the while we were there, we left there. So he drove that bear away every time he tried to get up there. The big lummox did. The bear come out to one side where they come out with from driving. Took a look at us. We was that was the one that you could read a paper through him side of the other one.
Talking about pictures, do you know of anybody around here who has any pictures of Mendon Ponds Park before it became a park, or during the early times?
No, I don't, because you know, before the park there wasn't so much in this picture business there is now. You know, the cameras they didn't have. Once in a while. I don't remember anybody.
You haven't seen any that anybody's ever showed you, have you?
No, I don't remember it, you know. It
Well,
might be, though, someone.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's difference in people get interested. You run around taking pictures.
I see it's after 12 o'clock. Maybe you're getting hungry, huh?
Well, I never get hungry.
You never do?
Not anymore.
Oh, I see. Well, I think we possibly better get along.
I don't know if I can help you, but
All you have immensely, you've no idea.
There's a lot of things that don't come to the afterwards.
Your wife drives?
Yeah.
Well, have her bring you down sometime. We'd like to have you visit our place.
Where are you live?
Well, this is down at the visitor center.
Down where?
Down at the visitor center where the Van Alstyne house used to be.
Oh. Down the old ground place.
Yeah, both of us are in that building every day.
Down the lane there.
Yeah. Well, we're right on the corner there in the lane, you know, that big barn. And,
I know that place.
well, Mr. Hamill is there weekends. We're open all day Saturday, and we're open a half a day Sunday, from 12 o'clock noon to 4 o'clock on Sunday. And for that matter, you could come down during the week. The only day we're closed is Monday, but if you get the time, have her bring you down and look around. We'd like to have you see what we've done to the place. And
no, that's your question. Of course, I haven't been over through that. Is that little building in the back end there still on the hill?
Little log-like building?
Back in the lot there on the line fence.
Oh, no.
It's gone.
Van Alstyne's, that little shed.
Yeah, the little shed,
Van Alstyne had it back there, yes.
Yeah, no, that's been taken down. The chimney and the fireplace still stand.
Oh, yeah.
They thought,
I never was to it. You see, when in Garland's, they sold a little strip down in there. Besides, first they sold. Well, in fact, all Garland did sell. It's a swamp. And a little strip along on the east side of the road. And the south side of the old road that used to run through there. And a lot across the road. That whole lot they sold.
Yeah.
On the north side of that old road. where the new is coming down through now.
Yeah.
And a little, as far down as they come to their slope down, and then they cut in, and came way down next up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all Garland's ever sold. Then what Benonstein, where we bought it up, he got the rest of it. But this fellow sold the whole thing all on the east side of the road now.
That little house there, what was it? That little shack or house down there.
I don't know. I seen it there time again. I wondered.
A little shooting lodge. I think Dr. Van Alstyne used to go down and shoot clay pigeons and have friends in it.
Way back down in the lot.
Well, I think we'd better get along.
You don't, of course. There's a lot of things you fellas. Now that you don't. There was 2 houses up there. Nobody probably now living knows they were there. Well, I do. Maybe someone else does. As you come in the park there, off of Clover Street, right on that turn, you fellas wouldn't believe there was a house there.
Now where was this?
As you turn into the park off Clover Street.
On Pond Road?
Yeah.
On the Pond Road.
Yeah, it's on the map. When you open that.
And which side of the road is it on?
Left-hand side as you drive in, right?
This is the new letter.
Yeah.
It's right in where the Neil Road went.
Well, who lived there?
Well, that was the tenant house of the Garland place.
Oh, it was?
There's pictures on that back there.
And years ago, down the old road, a little ways where you see, I think that little dip in there was another house at one time.
Well, who lived there?
I've heard the gin boys say they lived there one time. That was the oldest ones there. I knew them both.
They lived all over the place, didn't they?
Yeah, I want to tell you something. Their mother was my nurse when I was born.
Really?
They came from England.
You don't have any recollection of any Marsh family living around the park?
Marsh?
Yeah.
Seems to me I haven't. Let's see about Marsh.
You know, there's supposed to be a house between Stamon's property and the Ernsts on the south side of the Pond Road there. And there was a house there, actually. It belonged to a George Marsh and a George J. Marsh, and Phyllis Marsh was the wife of one of them. And there's a little burial, a little cemetery on your nephew's property, Carl's property, in the woodlot opposite the house, the other side of the road.
Over the corner.
Yeah, the Canfield, I guess old Canfield. There's a few Canfields buried in there, and there's a few Marsh. There's one Marsh.
They was God damn it, I must say so. I believe that was the name.
Marsh, maybe.
Was ever anything said about a Marsh who used to come from Dakota?
Well, there was this Marsh family supposedly originally came from England around the 1830s, about the same time as your great-great-grandfather moved in. And he used to live down there on the Mendon Center Road there. But one of them moved out to Minnesota or someplace out there, then after the Civil War, then moved back here.
Well, here, there was a fellow by the name of Steve Corby. Lived right where Stephens lives, on the point. That was the Corby boys' great-grandfather.
Marsh.
No.
Oh.
These Corby boys up here.
Right, okay.
Bentley Corby's son, and all the boys was Bentley's father. Well, George got boys. Anyway, it strikes me, there was a fellow I can remember, he used to come to our place on a visit, and I think that Steve Corby married his sister. I think his name was Marsh.
You don't know his sister's name?
No, I don't. She married Stephen Corby. And he used to come down, but he had a ranch in Dakota.
They don't live around here anymore.
Oh God, they're dead and gone.
Actually, there's a Corby family down the road here that has a garage over towards the Lima.
Over here.
Yeah, is that any relation to the Corby?
Yeah, they're all it is.
Wouldn't be Jane or anything like that.
Huh?
Could you call it Jane?
Well, I would know that. You refer to that cemetery, that burying ground up in there, it seems to me, I don't know if there's a stone up there, who the name is on it.
There's a Phyllis Marsh up there.
I think it's Marsh too. I just always thought so.
Yeah.
I think.
Apparently they had more than one house on Ponds Road, just past the kennel.
There's just one house there.
Yeah, but now, you know Ruth Ernst, don't you?
Yeah.
Ruth Ernst told me once upon a time that she thought there were several houses down that road.
Well, I don't remember of any houses there. I never heard of anybody speaking of any houses on the old town Fortner place.
And we know for a fact that, because we've dug through the rooms, that house that the Marshalls lived in down the road from the kennels on the other side there was there, what, about 1830, 1840?
Yeah, from 1830 on up to about 1870. George Marsh lived there, and his father lived, you know where the Lord, what Lord raises the potatoes there? If you go by Charlie Lord, yeah. One of the Marshes, another George, the father, George, lived in a house right in that area, too. It could be, must be, your nephew's, Carl's house, and then, the opposite side of the road is the cemetery. But then somewhere, straight down before you get, by Charlie Lord's property, this other Marsh lived there, George Marsh.
That's beyond me, fellas.
Would you say there was a Marsh that came back from Dakotas?
Well, this fellow always stayed at Dakota, died up there yet. I don't know even whether he was married or not. I don't know that.
But apparently he must have lived in the area, right? To marry one of the Corby girls?
Well, he must have at some time or other lived there. He used to come in. I think his name was George Marsh. I've always tried to think of it. But that, you see, that's way back a long time before the turn of the century. I was young. That's before the turn of the century I used to see him.
That's when were you born again?
1879.
1879. Yeah, it would have been just after that period.
Because George Marsh, after that time, 1870s and stuff like that, George Marsh just disappeared.
Disappeared, right.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where he went.
Left the whole...
You think he was out in Dakota or someplace like that?
He had a ranch in Dakota, yeah. He used to tell me. I think he had another place somewhere else. But he used to come there. Of course, I was a young lad. I used to, like Jim talk, he used to come stay all night there.
How old a man was he?
Huh?
How old would you say he was?
Oh, he was pretty well along in years.
70 or 80?
Oh, I don't think he was that old. I used to interested. He used to tell about shingling a schoolhouse out there, help shingling, when it was 20 degrees below zero.
Would he be out in Dakota?
Yeah, he thought, I said, what's the road there? No, he said, air is dry, you see. It doesn't be like here, 20 years, it used to be stiff. And he said, tell about Indians. Indians run loose then up there. He said, you'd be working, look up, and here was an Indian standing looking at you. He said, you started working with him, look up again, he was gone, and you couldn't tell where he gone, you wouldn't see anything of him anywhere. He said, you see him, then you don't see him. He come up on you, and you wanted to hear him, I suppose.
George, I think we'd better get along here.
You haven't got to be in a hurry on my
Well, I've got an appointment with Dr. Van Alstyne, for one, and